So our final speaker tonight, I'm very pleased to introduce Doc Searls. One of the most important areas of open data is where open data and personal data come together. And Doc has been working in this area for quite some time. He was the founder of Project VRM at the Berkman Center, and I'll let him tell you a little bit about what that means. He's the co-author of the Clue Train Manifesto, which I think got many people really thinking about all the stuff we're doing today in some new ways. Author of The Intention Economy, and now a visiting scholar in journalism here at NYU. So please join me in welcoming Doc Searls. Doc.
I don't have any slides, so that'll do as my slide here. I'm at D Searls, by the way, and add the hashtag, whatever it is. We'll get the microphone adjusted here. After industry won the Industrial Revolution, business needed to scale. And in many ways, it scaled at many costs. And one of those costs was the individuality of all of us, of the citizens, of the customers, which now became known as consumers. That's all we did. We just consumed. We didn't necessarily produce. We became users, which is, by the way, it's interesting to me that the computer profession and the drug profession are the only ones that call us users. It's sort of an interesting thing. But in order to scale, we developed in business a vocabulary for orienting to human beings. They became targets that we acquired and we managed and we controlled and we locked in as if they were cattle or slaves. And the irony of this never really occurred to us really until the internet came along. The internet suddenly empowered everybody to a degree that was never before possible. Now we can do things as individuals that weren't really possible under the old industrial system, which we haven't fully exited yet. So it should come as no surprise then, because while business regards captive customers as more valuable than free ones, and government, at least in democratic societies, regards free citizens as more valuable than captive ones, that government is taking the lead with open data. Business is a follower in this category. And government is setting a wonderful precedent for this. There are some, such as in the UK right now, where there's a great deal of synergy, as well as in the US, between government and business, and government is taking the lead on this thing. So I want to tell a story, a brief story, an account of how far behind we are with this, and the challenge of convincing business that it's in their interest for them to release and to make open the data they've collected about us and about their customers, in faith that those people can actually do more with that data than they can, and might be able to work with them on that, and this will, create other businesses that will work well. It was at a conference in the UK about a year and a half ago, and it was a two-day conference, and during that conference on day one, David Weinberger, a fellow author of the Clue Train Manifesto, several other people gave really terrific talks about the importance of releasing data to individuals. I gave one as well. The next morning, this was all to a bunch of CIOs. There's about 40 CIOs, Chief Information Officers at companies. And all of them were given a green and a red card and asked questions and to hold up a green or a red card in agreement or disagreement with a particular statement. And the person running the conference said, how many of you are willing to turn over to your customers data you've collected about them? And almost all of the cards were red. And so then he turned to me and he said, you've got 5 minutes, turn these people around. and so here's what came to me on the spot. What I told him was, okay, you're CIOs now. In 1982, your title would have been MIS directors, managers of information services. And I said, if you were asked at that time, would you allow PCs in your organization, personal computers? Personal computing in 1982 was an oxymoron. It's a contradiction in terms. Only large organizations could compute. But would you let PCs in your organization say, no, that's insecure, it's unsafe, it's not serious, we have professionals for this kind of thing. No, we're not going to do it. Within 3 or 4 years, there were PCs on desks all over every corporation in the world. And I said, now if it's 1995, and you're asked, are you going to let the internet into your organization? Are you going to encourage or allow your employees to use the internet and to use their email that they're acquiring and their ISPs and so forth? You would say, No, of course not. We have LANs, we have Novell, we have Corvus, we have all these other local area networks. Networking is a corporate activity. It's very important for us to maintain control over that. This internet thing is, it's not safe. We're not going to allow that in here. And within several years, we had the dot-com boom, and there was no choice about it. And I said, so let's say it's 2007, and all of a sudden everybody's getting a smartphone. Are you going to allow those into your organization? Now you're called a CIO. Are you going to allow them into your organization? Or are you going to say, no. We've got BlackBerries. We're running Microsoft Exchange here. We're not going to let you use your own. You can bring your own phone in if you want, but we're not going to integrate those into the organization. We're not going to allow that. And then within 2 years, they're writing applications for every company that make use of the fact that people have smartphones in their pockets and they're not going to get rid of them. I said, the question now is, are you going to allow your customers and your employees to have the data you've collected about them because it is theirs and not just yours? And at the end of that, most of them turn green. So there's hope here, but we're way, way behind on the business side. The rationale for turning data over to people in faith that free customers and free employees and free agents in the marketplace and personal sovereignty is more valuable than captivity is still an alien notion to business. And I think the larger context for this, and the context I'd like to leave with you, and this is one of those things where the older I get, the earlier it seems, is that two things came into the world in the last 2 generations, let's say. One is the digital format, the ability to represent everything as ones and zeros, no matter what it was. Music, video, literature, all of it. Our genome, all of this stuff can be expressed in a digital format of nothing but ones and zeros, nothing but binary math. This is not going away. This is a fundamental condition of life in the world. It is all of science. It is all of education. All of this stuff can be represented with the digital format. The other is the internet, as it was originally designed. The original design of the internet, drawn by Paul Barron in 1962, was what he called a distributed system. Not decentralized, but distributed, meaning that all of us have our own node on the network, and all of us are at a functional distance of 0 from everybody else. This is a condition in our midst that we have no idea yet how to cope with. It is an absolute challenge, for example, to privacy. Privacy in the everyday world is not controversial. We wear clothing. This is privacy technology, right? Doors and window shades are privacy technologies. We have conventions, well-developed conventions, that are full of really subtle understandings of what's okay and what's not okay. It's not okay to wave at the next driver necessarily unless you're trying to warn them about something on the road. There are ways that we interact with people that are based on an understanding that they have a private space that is theirs alone. What we have right now on the internet, especially in the business sector, especially in the marketing quarter, which is hugely well funded right now. The funding is moving away from lots of other corporate areas into marketing for surveillance. They're behind the curve on this. Just today, in a class over here in Clay Shirky's class here at NYU, a set of students talked about some research they had done in which, out of the blue, something like 1/3 of all the respondents said their first concern was privacy. That was an unbidden answer. People are concerned about privacy right now because in any technology, we will do what we can. What can be done will be done. And right now, what's being done by business to us is not permissible in a civilized world. And we're going to fix that, but we don't know how. It's going to take time. And I think, at least, that the open data movement shows that. There's another class that Clay taught last year that was really interesting and is a good model as well. He challenged the class to take open data, for example, stop and frisk, and develop tools for individuals to use these. And that was done by Microsoft, by the way. Microsoft funded that particular class. So there is hope. Business knows that there's a problem here, but fortunately, Joel and others on the government side are setting a model for us all. So thank you very much.
Doc, thank you so much, Doc. That was, I think, really visionary and terrific. I mean, we are in early days, and we are, I think, at a point where the business cases and the business models have not really caught up quite yet. But you did hear today from a couple of businesses that are really forward-looking in the uses of open data, and I think we are going to see more and more this recognition of a different approach to personal data as well.